Broadcasting live from the Vivid Grove on the plain of Lorwyn, this is Tap Tap Concede. Last time I said Vivid, I think the Creek?
Vivid Creek?
I think we did Vivid Creek. I was just like, from Vivid Creek. It's Tap Tap Concede. And someone in the comments, rightly so, was like, did you forget that the Vivid Lands were on Lorwyn? And I said, I did. I completely did.
You admitted it.
Yes. I may not have actually commented to that effect, but I admit it now.
Casual.
Yeah, I forgot where the Vivid Lands were. Hey, it's Tap Tap Concede. We're going to talk about those hats. We're going to talk about some flavor stuff today. Flavor in terms of Magic, flavor as it relates to deck building, getting all Vorthos-y. We asked on Twitter, actually, on the LRR MTG account, some ideas for topics to discuss. Not like a QA thing, but just some ideas for topics, and that was one that came up a lot. So we figured, heck with it, let's do that. But first, one of the other topics that came up a lot was cracking old packs and talking about them. So let's start with that. Let's crack a pack.
All right, do you want me to do like what I did last time?
Yeah, just chuck it.
And then Paul will tell us what it is?
Go for it.
You ready,
Bank
Paul?
it off the camera. Do not hit the camera.
You can overhand it. Just throw it past the camera.
Boy, we're putting a lot of skill into my throwing
You've
skills
got like a
here.
5 foot wide range between the camera and Paul.
Yeah, never say never, Graham.
All right.
All right.
We will miss you.
You're good. Thread the needle. Good job.
Oh no, it's bouncing back.
That's okay.
Hits the tripod falls over.
What we got? 17.
Ooh, I roll well when I...
20, 19, 18, 17. Ooh, spicy. This is a pack of Planeshift.
Oh, exciting.
This is one of the sets that I got back into Magic playing.
This was given to us by Mike at PAX East.
Thank you, Mike.
In this...
All I heard was a variety of screaming.
I just heard... Sorry about that pause there. We just heard a whole bunch of cheering from outside. I think.
Yeah.
Did they construct a wall particularly effectively?
I don't know. All I heard was a bunch of cheering, and then the toilet flushed.
Yeah.
So
It's a weird afternoon here at the LoadingReadyRun Moonbase.
You know what?
Yeah, but you sounded happy.
You may have heard over the last couple of podcasts, you may have heard some trucks reversing or some concrete being laid. They're building a house next door, and there's not a lot we can do about it, so here we are.
The toilet flushing is something that we...
Oh, that's just a matter of course around here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Planeshift. This was a cool set. Is not to be confused with Planar Chaos, which I say because I do that a lot. Because Planar Chaos had color shifted cards. And Planeshift is different. There's no flavor text in this one to explain what the Planeshift actually is.
Right.
It just says that it's a strategy game that you play with a deck of cards instead of a board.
I feel that... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Cam.
If I'm remembering correctly, this was when the Phyrexians actually come through.
Oh.
So this is what Urza and the Weatherlight crew had been trying
to prevent?
Well, preparing for at the very least.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to reorganize.
Weren't the Thralls the only thing that could fight off Phyrexians?
No, it was basically like down to the legacy weapon, which turned out to be the ship Weatherlight itself.
The Weatherlight itself, right. All right, I'm going to mess around the pack so that we can build up to our rare.
Okay.
So let's start with the commons. Death Bomb, 3 and a black, instant. As an additional cost to play Death Bomb, sacrifice a creature. Destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. Its controller loses 2 life.
Wasn't there something a lot like this? Flesh Allergy? Only its controller lost life equal to the number of creatures put into the graveyard this turn?
Maybe? This reminds me of Bone Splinters, but that's way more aggressively costed.
Yeah.
Because Bone Splinters is just a single black sorcery, sack a creature, destroy a creature.
Right.
You just turn it into... Yeah, so, a Flesh Allergy, 2 black as an additional cost to cast it. Sack a creature, destroy target creature's controller, loses life. Yeah, equal to the number of creatures put into all graveyards from the battlefield this turn.
So at least 2, but possibly more. Oh, no, sorcery, so yeah, 2.
Well, you can play it after combat. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Flesh...
I mean, it's always going to be at least 2.
Yeah, so Flesh Allergy...
It'd be so much better if it was an instant, though.
Yeah, so what's better? Death Bomb, which is 3 and a black at instant speed, or Flesh Allergy, which is harder to cast and slower, but has a potentially higher upside?
Absolutely, it's still Death Bomb.
Oh, also, notably, that is destroy... Sorry, Flesh Allergy is destroy a creature.
A creature with no caveats.
Yeah.
So this is non-black,
non-black,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
I mean, like, I'm not certain which is better because I'm not certain that they're comparable.
Yeah,
I would
it's-
never play them in a constructed format where
It's
they...
like there's cards that sometimes have different use cases.
Yeah, so I suppose I don't know enough about the limited environment. For,
Was-
or if there was one.
Was there?
even.
I guess this would have been after drafting was a thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
cool, though.
it seems okay. Like, I mean, Doomblade still has a home, even though it's only destroy target non-black creature.
Yeah.
And it is
Yeah.
instant, and it is relatively easy to cast. Like, the problem with flesh allergy is it's that 2 black, right? And that you could get stuck on that when you really want it.
yeah,
Notably, the Phyrexians were all black.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, really? So this is
So-
a spell to deal with
The
other
Coalition.
the coalition.
well, what I think is
So maybe
interesting.
this is really good if you're in black.
when we're talking about comparing these things, what I think is interesting is not actually necessarily calling which one's better or not. And I shouldn't have even brought that up as an option, but just it is interesting to compare.
Oh, yeah,
two
yeah.
very similar cards and the manner in which they are slightly different. I think that's really interesting.
No, yeah, I agree. So-
Next up is a Sea Snid.
Snid.
Yeah.
Like creature type snid.
Well, it says beast, so it's probably still a beast.
SNID?
SNIDD.
DD. Oh.
Yeah, it's a 3/3 for 4 and a blue, and you can tap it to make target land's type become the basic land type of your choice until end of turn.
Oh, the flavor text on that's amazing.
It
It always
always-
has the home
home
turf
turn.
advantage.
Home turf advantage. This is art by Chippy.
Oh. Well, he's come a long way, hasn't he?
I like this.
I mean,
snid.
Yeah.
I think the art.
Is there a land snid?
Could you draw better?
That is not fair.
I couldn't.
That is not fair. That is the BS
I'm just saying.
accusation that people give whenever someone tries to criticize art.
Well, I'm just saying that.
You're just saying wrong things that belong on Twitter.
Wow.
Sorry, that one bugs the crap out of me.
Well,
whenever you try to criticize something, it's like, well, let's see you do better. I don't have to be able to do better to be critical of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like...
I don't think it's actually that bad.
No,
I've
it's
seen
not that
way
bad.
worse art on Magic
I'm mainly
cards.
comparing it to Chippy's new stuff.
Oh,
where
okay.
he's like-
I thought that was like a really backhanded compliment.
No, like... what's it called?
What's he drawn recently?
A lot of stuff.
Has he done anything from a super recent set?
He's got
I
Cam's
was
favorite swamps.
Yeah, well, he did a lot of Alara, but sacrifice an artifact, put an artifact from your hand into play. She's doing this.
Abyssal Persecutor. There you go.
Oh,
yeah.
The Ethereum Sculptor?
Ethereum Sculptor.
So yeah,
I
this
think,
is from
yes.
like a recent Commander set actually.
But like Chippy did all of the art for Esper, essentially. I remember seeing
Yeah, Chippy's done a lot of art.
a panel interview where I think Mark Rosewater was saying that he was talking with Boros Zoltan.
Yeah.
And he did this imitation where he's like, "Oh, Zibalushard, she is shit," right? Like, had no idea what to do for the art, and they put Chippy on it, and Chippy came back with
With
Esper,
with all the
Filigree.
the people with the
yeah,
Yeah.
Ethereum.
Skittles.
oh, Skittles, the White
Skittles.
Dragon.
But like, I don't know, 3/3 for
3/3 for 5 is
in
not
blue
amazing.
is-
It's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
The changing land type is interesting.
That
so
is
you can
interesting.
affect. So not only does that affect things like landwalk,
yeah,
but also that would make the land not tap for the color of mana that you want from it.
yeah.
So you can
So
like
you could use it to hose your opponents.
You can lock your opponent out of a given color if they only have one land. Of it.
Yeah, like beginning of your turn. Tap
Also,
your one
it's
white source or whatever.
target land
Yeah.
becomes
Oh.
a basic land.
non-basic.
So you can take a non-basic land and be like, that is a swamp now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your Maze of Ith is a plane.
Yep, deal with it.
Probably not playing Maze of Ith in this format, but yeah.
No, I'm
Back
just
when I was
saying.
playing this, we still had Mazes of Ith around because we didn't know what we were doing.
There's also
The Raising Snid.
Is that a different snid?
the only other
The only other snid?
Have these been oracled?
Is snid a creature type ball? No. Okay.
Oh.
Oh well. Next up, Slingshot Goblin. This guy seems good. He's 2/2 for 2 and a red. And for a single red and tap, Slingshot Goblin deals 2 damage. Oh, wait, I missed a key word in here. Deals 2 damage to target creature. Would be great, except I didn't read that it was target blue creature.
Boo.
So can't hit players, can only hit blue creatures. It is otherwise just a
Sideboard card.
gray ogre. 2/2 for 2 and a red.
Ugh.
Blah.
I like that. What the hell's he firing?
Magma,
I guess?
a lump of rock,
A meatball.
It looks like it's bugs or something.
a hot meatball from a sub.
It's most effective when it doesn't eat the ammunition.
See? Meatball.
It's not great.
Whatever it is, it's a meatball now.
Oh, holy crap. All right.
Oh.
Settle down, everybody, for a real good card. Rushing River. 2
right.
and a blue for an instant. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. With the kicker, sacrifice a land. If you pay the kicker cost, return another non-land permanent to its owner's hand.
I have seen this card in a lot of like pauper cubes.
Oh, yeah.
It is a great
Rushing
card.
River is very strong. It's also really pretty. But yeah, so this is you tap 3, and then you cast this and sack one of the lands that you tapped, and you get to bounce 2 things. And it can be very, very, very strong.
I love this card. Although I do have to complain about the art.
Really?
The art's great. However, is this supposed to be the river like curling and going around? Usually when the rivers are doing these like meandering curves, they're not going very fast. The card is Rushing River. I was expecting rapids. That's always bugged me about this card.
Fair enough.
They also terminate in the middle of those spirals.
Yeah. Yeah, this does not seem like a particularly...
I imagine this is the...
magic.
I assume that this is the sacrifice land effect being depicted, where it's actually
You-
destroying this forest.
You give up this land, and then the river comes in. That makes sense.
because it's kind of tracing a flame shape.
Sort of, yeah.
I mean, it looks great. It's very pretty art. I just don't think it's accurate. And as we
Amphibious-
know, accuracy is the most important thing that you can go for in magic art.
Amphibious Kavu is
Oh, Kavus.
2 and a green. It was the Kavu that could fight the Phyrexians.
Yes. The Kavu were
That's
the...
what it was.
I thought I read somewhere that thralls, like
No.
in some piece of flavor text, thralls were the only thing gross enough that the Phyrexians are like, I don't even want to take you over.
That might be a different
the
thing.
Kavu started being spontaneously generated by Yavimaya.
I think so. 2 and a green for a 2/2 creature Kavu. Whenever Amphibious Kavu blocks or becomes blocked by 1 or more blue and or black creatures,
Oh, that's relevant.
Amphibious Kavu gets +3/+3 until end of turn. So, if it enters combat blocking on either side with a blue or black creature, it becomes a 5/5. And
That seems really good.
well, that is relevant because, of course, the Kavu versus the Phyrexians. The Phyrexians
Are black.
mostly being in black, yeah.
A black aligned
go.
tribe.
This is an interesting one. Keldon Mantle, 1 and a red for a creature enchantment. For a single black, regenerate the creature. For a single red, it's fire breathing. Creature gets +1/+0. For a single green, it gains trample. That's just a Swiss Army knife of fun stuff. And
Yeah.
if you're in Jund,
Yeah, that actually seems like a pretty good thing to have in like a Jund commander deck or something like that.
some early Rebecca Gay art here.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, gosh, this card is pretty. I wonder who, of course.
Yeah.
As I was thinking about that, and I started because we have a little monitor
Oh,
below
it's
the
very
camera,
pretty.
so we could see it. That's of course.
It's interesting, this card. I don't know if it's great. It's got a good combination
Can
of
you pay the
stuff.
red multiple times? Though?
Oh yeah, you can
yeah.
play all of those multiple times. Like it's got a good combination of stuff, right? If you you can make it real big and give it trample and have it live through combat.
And that's very useful.
But it would take a lot of mana to do that. But
Yeah.
if your creature lives, then okay.
I mean,
Regenerating for 1 black is
Really
pretty
good.
decent.
usually you have to pay more for a regeneration effect. To be completely honest with you.
Yeah, that's like skeleton regenerate.
The
Yeah.
awkward thing is when you put all the mana into giving it trample and pumping it up or whatever, and then they use some sort of instant speed destroy effect before it deals damage. Because then you have to regenerate it, then it gets removed from combat, so it doesn't actually deal the damage.
Yeah.
Really? Is that how regenerate works?
Yeah, the creature
Oh.
gets tapped and removed from combat.
However,
so if it dies in combat, obviously it's dealing the damage
Right.
because it's the combat damage is
But
what's killing it. But if you kill it before the combat damage step, it gets tapped and removed from combat, so it doesn't actually deal any itself.
All right.
I still think this card's actually pretty decent, and I don't know how good it would be in this format, but I could easily see this in a Rampy Jund deck where you could totally abuse this, right? And regenerate for 1 black mana is good.
Here's a weird one, Morgue Toad. It's 2
That's
and
my middle name.
2 and a green. Sorry, 2 and a black for a 2/2. I think it's neat that we've seen.
3 gray ogres.
Yeah,
That was clearly the sweet spot for this set.
Sacrifice Morgue Toad. Add blue-red to your mana pool. A blue mana and a red mana to your mana pool.
Weird.
Oh, this was before the shards when these were like Stormscape and all the scapes.
Oh, right. Because you had like Stormscape Familiar.
Lightscape, I think.
Oh, goodness me.
Dirtscape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. The Stormscape Familiar is a blue one that white spells and black spells cost less. And the Nightscape Familiar, of course, is the Storm one. It's black. It's a black creature and makes red and blue spells cheaper, I
Yeah,
believe.
so these...
Are all
scapes,
the familiars, aside from this cycle of familiars, are they usually like birds, like owls? I'm just thinking
yeah.
of Palace Familiar, which is also an owl.
Yeah, generally familiars get used as owls, but this particular cycle was different.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. They're not going to put an owl in black.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have.
So yeah, what do we think of Morgue Toad?
Fine, but not
yeah.
great.
Sorry, blue and red activated ability for...
No, you sack it
sack it.
to get blue and red.
It's okay.
I mean,
it could be good.
If we're seeing a lot of 2/2s, so maybe Grey Ogres are just fine.
Yeah. The Toads of Urborg aren't fast, powerful, or pleasant, but they have their uses. All right. Honorable Scout is next. It's a 1/1 for a single white soldier. When Honorable Scout comes into play, you gain 2 life for each black and or red creature target opponent controls.
Interesting.
Flavor text: I've faced your kind before, and this time I'm ready for you.
What do you mean, my kind?
Art by Mike Plug. I just like that name. 1/1 for ones are generally never actually good, and I mean, I guess if you gain a couple life off this, you're happy about it, but you're still running a 1/1 for 1 in your deck, so it's probably not great.
I mean,
Yeah.
relevant subtype soldier.
Yeah. Cool.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. I'm not high on Honorable Scout.
No, neither am I.
This
I was
one's
just saying
interesting.
that possibly the soldier could be an upside.
Yeah. Silver Drake.
I remember this guy.
They 3/3 for 1 blue white.
Wow, that's a great deal.
Give me several downsides
And
in
it-
this era of Magic.
Well, it flies.
Give me more
Oh.
downsides.
So when it comes into play, return a white or blue creature you control to its owner's hand.
That's
I
just
said a
upside.
downside.
Yeah, that's
just pure upside.
That's not.
They
well,
have not worked this out
It's
yet.
not pure upside, but it's not really a downside.
I've seen this guy in Pauper Cubes too.
Oh, yeah,
actually.
yeah.
I like this guy a lot.
Because it lets you abuse enter the battlefield effects, like the
Like
Honorable
Honorable
Scout.
Scout.
Exactly.
Yes,
Combo.
Yeah, well, there you
Take
go.
this,
white or
wheel
blue.
that guy.
And
Yeah.
especially the reason why this card is particularly good in Pauper Cubes is the white and blue, and then it has to return white or blue. But really, the creatures with enter the battlefield effects that you want to exploit that go with this guy are all in white or blue. Core Skyfisher is a 2/3 for 2 that is in a lot of Pauper Cubes because
Yep.
you have to return a creature you control to its owner's hand. So it's a lot
A
more
permanent.
a
You
permanent.
You can return a land with this thing.
Yeah.
Which in the set was really because this was
Landfall,
Core
For
Skyfisher
landfall.
was originally in Zendikar, which was all the landfall. And even if you didn't have landfall explicitly, there was cards that did. There was land that had ETB effects.
Yeah, but so you abuse these kind of effects by creatures with good enter the battlefield effects, like Fiend Hunter. When he comes into play, you exile a creature, so you play Fiend Hunter early, and then they play a better creature, so you use a Core Skyfisher or this Drake to bounce your Fiend Hunter, and then get their better creature in the bag.
Yeah.
There's this wouldn't work. This combo doesn't work in a Pauper Cube, but one of the really common things to abuse is what's the lady who makes golems from Scars of Mirrodin?
Oh, Blade Splicer.
Blade Splicer. Every time when she enters the battlefield, she brings a 3/3 golem with her, and she gives all golems you control first strike. So you play Blade Splicer, you get a 3/3 golem. Then next turn you play a Core Skyfisher, and then you replay your Blade Splicer, and then you have 2 3/3 golems,
Yep.
and they both have first strike. Aether Adept is a really good thing to abuse with these things because
You just draw a card.
bounce,
you
bounce
bounce
a
it.
creature,
Right.
bounce something that your
It's like
opponent
a
controls.
mana war.
Oh,
is
it's
the
so
Aether
good.
Adept.
I mean, there's lots of. This is a great card. There's zero downside.
Because you did this
Yeah.
in a cube once. You
In
had
my-
like this deck.
Yeah. Well, my most the Lady Planeswalker's cube. Because I helped build it, the blue. There is a blue-white abusing bounce creatures sub-theme because it's one of my favorite things to do, and that deck was open, so I drafted it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, a similar creature to this is Cavern Harpy in blue-black, but with Cavern Harpy you can pay 1 life to return her to your hand.
Oh, interesting. So, I mean, the thing is, like, and it's a 2/1 flyer. Sweet. Comes to play, return to blue or black. So this is from the same sort of cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't forget that, like all of these effects, if you have no other creatures, this card will return itself.
Yes.
To your hand. So you need a 1 or a 2 drop before you can play this on turn 3. But even if you're having to bounce your 1 drop or your 2 drop, you're getting a 3/3 flyer on turn 3.
It's still
with the
good.
Silver Drake.
Yeah, even if this turns into even if you do have to sort of set yourself back, there's no way to max value this. It's still a good deal.
I like that he's turning.
A bird.
It's like a duck.
A gull or something.
Yeah. It's turning into a dragon. That's weird.
Like, again, 3/3 for 3 usually has, like, a big well, not a big downside, but, like, Necrogen Scudder.
Yeah.
Which we saw in Scar's Block and in M15.
Which is just a
Pay
3/3
3
flyer,
life.
but you have to pay 3 life for it.
I mean, this is hard to cast. You are going to have to rely on getting a white and a blue by turn 3, which is
Who
not
plays
always
those
gonna
colors?
happen. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they're,
Yeah, it's harder to cast.
But this is an incredibly good card for a set this old. They wouldn't print this today, and creatures are better than they used to be. This is my first pick right here, Windmill Slam for this.
Well, it's probably not going to be this big. Although, I bet that you'd like this in real life, this next card.
Is it a cat?
No, it's called Pollen Remedy.
Ooh, yes, I would like that, please.
It's a single white mana, and it has a kicker of sacrifice a land, just like Rushing River. Prevent the next 3 damage that would be dealt this turn to any number of target creatures and or players, divided as you choose. If you pay the kicker, prevent the next 6 this way. This is the most versatile prevention effect I've seen.
I still
'Cause
don't know if I want to...
You can prevent 6 damage divided as you choose.
Yeah, I mean, that's... You could really
You could turn
get
it into a
someone.
one-sided fog and totally blow somebody out.
Yeah.
You could be like, prevent 2 damage to this guy and 4 damage to this guy, and your guys die.
And my guys live.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is lose a land.
And a card.
Yeah.
But one-sided fog, fog is bad. One-sided fogs are good.
Right.
Right?
See, this is the card that I would always be like, oh, this seems bad, and then lose a game to.
Yeah. I don't know how
But the
bad
times-
this card is.
The number of times that you lose a game to it are nothing compared to the times that someone just has it sitting in their hand doing nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the deal. Okay, probably 60% of this time, this card is just terrible. And
I would say more than that.
no, hold on, I'm
Okay.
not done.
Okay.
60% of the time, this card is just trash garbage. 20% of the time, there's not even a time to play it. It's just a plank. It's not, it's not like, God, I wish this was any other card. It's just you're kind of waiting to use it, and the time never comes up, but you're prepared to. And then 20% of the time, or 10% of the time, it's pretty good, and then 10% of the time, it's an absolute blowout. Right? But I say overall, this is not a great card to have in your deck. But I think if you had the right kind of deck, it could be really good.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't run it.
I feel like this is the card that people play because they think it's going to be, because they're going for that, sort of 20% edge case of I'll get something good off it, or I'll just completely destroy my opponent. Because I think cards like this are never unplayable, right? Like, you will play it and you will prevent 3 damage and you will save a creature, and it's okay, but it was not great. And it probably would have been better to be literally anything else, but it's not sitting in your hand. You can't even use it because you can't afford to sack the land or whatever.
So we looked at the Silver Drake and the Cavern Harpy. Right. This is the red-green of the cycle.
Oh.
So they all have the same. They all have the same downside of the bounce a creature thing. The white one had the upside of flying.
Yes.
The white blue one. The
Yeah.
blue black one had the upside of you can pay a life to return it to your hand. This one has the upside of just being big.
Okay.
All right.
Its special power is big. It's the Horned Kavu. It's a red and a green for a 3/4.
Yeah, all right.
Holy
But
crap.
when it comes into play, return a red or green creature you control to its owner's hand.
Oh, it's got to be a creature.
That's a reason to play 1-drops.
Yeah.
They all have to be creatures.
Okay.
I'd totally play a Llanowar Elf into this guy.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So yeah, judging by the art, because this is just some sort of lizard who's turned into a massive, scary Kavu, and that was like a gull that turned into that thing. I assume the Cavern Harpy did the same. Flavor text here, that didn't happen naturally, said Multani. Wrath's overlay is interfering with the Aether itself. So yeah, I guess as a defense against the Phyrexians, the plane itself just went, all you creatures get leveled up.
Yeah.
What are you?
Get in there and fight.
I'm a seagull.
Not anymore, you're not.
You're a silver drake now. Get up there.
Yep.
Now get up there and stab a Phyrexian in the face.
I believe in you.
Anyway, reason to play 1-drops. This card is very, very scary.
That card's amazing.
Yeah, I was looking at one of the combos that people talk about with this is first turn Forest, Llanowar Elf. Second turn Mountain, tap the Elf for the mana.
Yep.
Pull this guy out.
Replay the elf.
Bring the elf back to your hand and then replay it with your forest. Seems decent.
Oh, that's
And then-
a good turn.
And then third turn you have 4 mana to do something cool.
And
with.
you're attacking with a 3/4
Yeah.
on turn 3.
Seems decent.
No,
Yeah.
this
I'll take
card's real good.
Right now, Kathleen, I have a card you're interested in.
Meow.
Yes,
Yay!
this is the Fleetfoot Panther.
Rawr.
This is real good. 1 green white for a 3/4. You with flash,
Oh,
or you may play it anytime you could play an instant, as it was turned.
if
turned
I
at
ever
the
build
time.
my Catmander deck, because it's a Naya deck,
Yeah.
this could go in there.
And then when it comes into play, return a green or white creature you control to its owner's hand. But you
Fine.
get a 3/4 for 3 mana at instant speed.
Well, the thing is, that's not a downside because it has flash. So you could play it to bounce something that's going to die in combat. Or if they like, oh yeah, I attack with my dude, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to kill it. And they, say target that guy with a Doom Blade. Okay, well in response, I'm going to flash in my Fleetfoot Panther and bounce my guy, and your Doom Blade fizzles, and I get my guy back, and now I have a Fleetfoot Panther.
Yep.
This card's all upside.
Yep. I love it.
Yeah, something similar was in Ravnica, one of the Azorius mages. It was like a 2/2.
Oh,
yeah.
wait. Deputy of Acquittals.
Deputy of Acquittals?
Nice.
I think so. I think that's the one.
I think it is.
It was the bear for Azorius that you
Yeah.
flash it in and bounce something.
Yes. That is also in the Lady Planeswalker's Cube.
I wanted to play that card,
That
and
was
I could
in-
never make it work.
I drafted it, but I cut it from my deck because it wasn't good enough.
It wasn't good enough.
It's good, but never quite
Yeah.
never quite gets there.
Yeah, another target creature you control. Yeah. Oh,
But-
right. So this one, interestingly, it has to be another creature.
Oh,
so
not a permanent.
So if you but that's fine because if you don't have a turn 1 play, you can still flash this in
May
at the end of their
right,
when you only have 2 mana,
right,
and it will stay.
right.
You
Yes,
don't.
it's
you-
a May.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not a May, but it's you. Oh no, yeah, right. It is a May,
But it's
and
also
it doesn't,
another.
It doesn't have to be itself.
Yeah.
And so you can just flash it in as a bear, but you can also save something. So right,
This
Fleetfoot
card is
Panther.
all. Oh gosh, I don't know which I like better: the Silver Drake or the Fleetfoot Panther.
Our next card is an Imperial AT-AT Walker.
Oh, I remember this guy.
What in the hell?
I used to play this guy in a commander deck.
So this is a Stratodon, which looks. That's an AT-AT, right?
Yeah, that
right?
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's absolutely an AT-AT.
Yeah. So it's a 5/5 artifact creature for 10 colorless mana. It costs 1 colorless less to play for each basic land type among lands you control. So the cheapest it can be is 5, and it has trample. So a 5/5 artifact creature for 5 is El Kabonkers,
Yeah.
but that's not ever going to happen. You need to
No,
have you need to have
well,
the complete domain.
I was able to do this occasionally, but usually this guy just sat in my hand until turn 57 or whatever it was we got to when we were playing.
Was this your Chromat deck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, planes. Or whatever it was.
And then in Commander you get a 5/5 with trample, which is actually okay.
Fine.
yeah, but
It's fine.
in this block there was also Harrow. Was your fixing
Oh.
card. So you just played
Okay.
mono...
Harrow's pretty good.
Mono forests.
Right.
With one of each other.
Right.
Because Harrow was your sacrifice.
Was Harrow in this set? Or maybe not in this set, but in the block. Yeah, Harrow
That was for Tempest of Invasion.
Invasion, right,
yeah.
which was part of the So it was and it was reprinted in Tempest Remastered, which is online right now, and again, as you can see here, it was reprinted in one of the Commander decks. It's 2 and a green instant, you have to sack a land, but then you go looking for 2 lands, and it's instant speed. So end of your turn, you can be like, Harrow, sack this land, go looking for 2 land, bring them into play. So yeah, I guess with Harrow and stuff like that, you can get up to domain pretty quickly. Domain, by the way, being the term for controlling
one of each basic mana.
one of each basic. Yeah.
I don't think that card is that good.
No.
I mean, normally 5/5 in like an older set, you're like, well, I mean, it's bigger than everything, but I could get a Fleetfoot Panther.
Yeah.
And it's remarkably easier to cast.
Well, it's like, common big artifact creatures.
I want to see
Never
whatever combo with C-Snid.
Oh, yeah.
Circ.
Right.
There you go. I want to see whatever game this art is from. Looks fun.
Yeah, definitely not from Magic, though.
No, that this one and Void, the art on Void, that's like just shy of Warhammer 40k. Have you seen that one?
I'm trying to remember
It's
it.
a power armor firing lasers.
That's Urza's power armor.
Yeah, it is.
That's from this set as well.
I know. It's like
Okay, sorry, yeah. No.
yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah,
but it's
but
like
it's-
that's not from Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
it is just called Void, isn't it?
But you can also look up Urza's power armor.
I know Paul's looking it up.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Yep.
like look at that. That's sick.
Yeah.
But that doesn't. If you showed me just the art and was like, "What game is this from?" I'd be like,
Mech
I'd be
It
like,
looks
this,
like-
is this
yeah,
from a heavy
it-
metal comic?
It does look like Mech Warriors.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's not what we're talking about. All right, what's next?
it's Urza and Gerard having a weird chat.
Having a scrap?
Is it?
No,
Is it?
it's not having a scrap.
Is it
Is it what?
Phyrexian Arena?
No.
Oh,
No, this is not the rare. This is Warped Devotion. It's a 2 and a black for an enchantment. So it is a black enchantment. It's not for Phyrexian Arena, though. This one is whenever a permanent is returned to a player's hand,
Oh,
that player discards a card.
oh,
from
that
his or her
hoses my
hand.
whole strategy for this draft.
yeah. Ooh, Raging River, Warp Devotion.
Suddenly, all
Wait,
of these cards
Megrim
get.
get printed.
Wait, no. This is a combo. You want to run this with Raging River
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
same
yeah,
deck.
yeah,
so you can
yeah.
bounce 2 other things and be like, discard 2 things also.
Yeah.
Oh, that's only a 2-card combo that does the same thing that the Dimir card did in Gate Crash.
Oh, it bounced something and made them discard?
Yeah, it was like a 4/4 for 6 mana.
Yeah. And it was like this weird flying bug thing or
Or
something like that.
It looked like a giant leech, kind of.
Yeah, it
with
was
like
in a cavern.
Yeah,
underground.
4-part mouth.
Yep. It.
I remember the
this
card.
one.
Something aberration.
Why can't I remember this one? This one was amazing because it would usually wheel and was actually really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it
it-
an abomination instead of an aberration?
maybe it was a
Abomination, yeah.
4/4 for 4 blue black.
Yes.
It was a 4/4 for 6, and that you bounced something and they discarded something.
Yeah.
It was so good. Because by the time you play it, they probably only have 1 or 2 cards in hand and they want to keep both of them.
And it went really late in draft.
Yeah, well,
Well-
Dimir was the weakest.
It was quote known to be bad, meaning
But-
that you could put together
usually
a
put a
really
bonkers
good
deck together.
Dimir- yeah, the what was the
It
Well,
did
you would
suffer
have-
from being in the same block as Boros, which was just fast and awesome.
Yeah, but then 7 people were fighting over the Boros cards.
Yes, and then you got to draft like a sweet Dimir deck, or was Gruul in that set as well?
Yes, Gruul
Yes.
was in that set.
Yeah, Gruul was also really good.
Yep.
Even though people were like, I don't know, it seems slow and clunky. And it's like,
It's not abomination or aberration.
No.
Okay. Anyways, it's.
If you just look for blue black cards in Gate Crash, you'll find it eventually.
I mean, we're meandering a bit here,
Yeah.
but like.
what was the Shadow Slice?
Oh yeah.
That was the way to win with Dimir.
Yeah, because it was usually like
Shadow
hit you with
Slice
this
on
2/2
the
flyer.
on the rogue.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like 8 you.
You could pretty consistently get in for 8 damage in a turn by going Shadow Slice you for 3.
Cipher.
Encode.
Cipher.
Cypher.
Yeah, well, the ability was called
Yeah,
Cipher, but it
but
was
it's
you
like-
you encoded it on a creature.
Yeah, that was such a weirdly.
Weird templating.
Yeah.
You exile the card. Yeah, encode it. So you would hit them for 3, encode it on a 2/2 flyer, hit them again, and then cast the Cipher. So that you're hitting them for 8 out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh,
They're
I'm
like-
in a lot of trouble."
Yeah,
feels
and
bad,
usually
man.
you also the best feeling
Abomination
Dinrova Horror.
of Gadul?
That's the one.
Dimir
Dinrova
Horror.
Dinrova Horror.
Dinrova Horror.
No, the one I
Yes.
really
What's
like.
a starfish?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, it's like a big slug with a starfish head.
Yeah.
The one I always like putting
a-
Shadow Slice
It's
onto
like an old one.
was Kingpin's pet.
With,
Because that
with
way
extort.
you got the extort, and it's like 10. I just tend you. I tend you. What are you going to do now? Oh, you're going to remove it? Okay.
Oh, okay. I guess you killed it. Okay.
Yeah.
You still,
Kingpin's pet, though, it was hard to get those because those were good and
Those
they
went
were
high.
fought over
Yeah.
for anybody who could play white.
so anyway, Warp Devotion.
Oh, right. Yes. This
Oh, right,
pack.
the card
Well,
we're
this is that
talking about.
we've already seen 2 cards in this pack that do that bounce. 3 cards.
Three
Sorry,
cards.
that do that bounce thing.
Yeah.
So this kind of
There's the-
messes with that.
There's the Panther, the Kavu, the Drake. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, this does not seem like a great way to hose that deck because of like somebody does like Mana Dork turn 1, Kavu turn 2, and you're like Warp Devotion turn 3,
Yeah.
And they're
Oh.
like,
And they're like-
okay.
kill you?
Yeah, like they're
exactly.
not going to have that many payloads for this bouncy
Yeah.
thing.
Whoa, this is a weird one. This is our rare.
Ooh.
Keldon Twilight. 1 black-red for an enchantment. At the end of each player's turn, if no creatures attacked that turn, that player sacrifices a creature he or she controlled since the beginning of the turn.
Interesting clause.
This is something
Well,
that you
it's
put
so
into a
that-
commander deck to
Yeah,
make
so
the
you
games
can't
finish.
flash.
If you have no creatures and you cast a creature that can't attack because it has summoning sickness,
Okay, yes.
you don't have to sacrifice that creature.
Okay.
So it's you have to if no one attacked, you have to sacrifice a creature that could have attacked.
Okay.
You know where you put this card?
What is happening in is this a He-Man
Yeah.
thing? Looks like Beastman is attacking
I would say
a
this
robot.
is this is
Oh, the robots are the Phyrexians.
Right.
That's what they looked like.
this is definitely more heavy metal style art.
Yeah.
But like the Keldons were they were the red black tribe, right? They were the barbarians.
Yeah,
Killed on Warlord.
Yeah, and they wanted you to turn guys sideways. I feel like a good home for this is like I said, the kind of card that you throw into a commander deck to keep people from just sitting and amassing armies.
Right.
Like it's slow, but like it's not gonna like take down a token strategy. But like people who play like a fatty every turn are not gonna make a lot of progress.
Yeah.
It encourages people to turn guys sideways. Or to get rid of your enchantment. But, you can maximize this yourself if you put it in one of those twiddly artifact decks that just doesn't need creatures to kill people.
Yeah.
Activate, turn this thing into a creature. Is not a creature at end of turn.
So, okay, what I'm putting together here is that in the back, there's a vampire fighting a demon who's emerging from a portal to the Nega X zone. There's an extra from He-Man slicing the arm off of a robot with 5 skulls for a head.
I wish I had 5 skulls for a head.
There's like some sort of sandcrawler tank with horns in the
Jeez.
back, and it may or may not have descended from, I don't know, Castle Cube.
I cannot see that much detail looking at the monitor.
I'm not going to lie, this is messed up.
Wow.
I, for one, welcome our new Phyrexian overlords.
You don't really
Are they-
have a choice.
Are they putting an end to this?
Then come on in.
Boy, you know what that card has a lot of? Flavor.
Oh, I love it. That's such a forced segue. It's so
I
good.
know.
Good
yeah,
job.
it's like, you know what that card has? Clutch. Shift gears.
Do you want to talk about what would pick out of this pack?
I'd probably take that cat.
I would take this cat too. If
The cat is
if
really...
I couldn't take the cat, I would take the Drake.
You know, I think we could each take a card in order here.
Yeah.
And each feel like, man, I wonder what those other idiots took.
We'd probably
Right?
we'd probably end up. Each of us would probably end up first picking a gold card.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is not even that. It's not
I would
usually
be-
good. But
Never first pick a gold. Never first pick a gold.
Are you kidding?
First
These
pick a gold
cards are
card.
so much better than the other. Like that, this pack actually seems pretty good, but those cards are good by Magic standards. Cards today, Magic cards standards of today.
let us not forget Amphibious Kavu, Rushing River, or Death Bomb.
No, I'm not saying that those are bad. I said, the pack is pretty good.
I'm just most interested in those gold cards.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they're fun.
Let it be said, cats are the best.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And flavor's all about fun.
Cats love flavor, tuna flavor,
We're in flavor
chicken
country.
flavor.
Chicken flavor.
mostly sometimes lamb.
Yeah.
Although our cats don't really like lamb flavored cat food.
Mary had a little lamb. with a side of mushrooms.
And some mint sauce.
With mint sauce, yeah. So we use the term Vorthos a lot, and I realized I was telling Alex the other day actually because he was doing a Vorthos stream of Dark Souls, and I was like, no one knows what that means. I was like, people who are just browsing Twitch TV, being like, what's this guy doing in the Dark Souls stream? No one's going to be like, oh, Vorthos, totally.
Yeah.
Because it's not even used that much
in the Magic community.
in Magic, but it's
But
one
I think
of the
people in Magic, a lot of people know that term or will have heard that term and are curious about it, but have probably never asked.
Yeah, it's one of the archetypes, the sort of the Magic player archetypes. The three most common are Johnny, Timmy, and Spike, or
Jenny, Tammy,
thank you,
Spike is
and Spike.
and Spike.
Yeah.
So Spike.
Spike transcends your petty notions of gender.
Exactly.
Yeah, Spike don't care about gender. Spike just wants value.
Exactly. And those are the three ones that they talk about a lot. But Mark Rosewater has talked before that there's sort of there's some other ones. Melvin is one that it really cares about rules interactions.
I self-identify as a Melvin.
Right. Like the sort of the real nitty-gritty mechanical stuff.
I think we also pigeonholed Serge as a Melvin.
I would agree with that.
Yes. Melvins probably are more likely to become judges, actually.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Vorthos is, which presumably is a name that he took himself after college, or in college.
That's his online handle.
Is someone who's interested in the flavor of the cards. Not necessarily to say that they don't like playing the game, but they're more interested in the sort of the...
They're the kind of person who like gets super excited when a new Uncharted Realms goes up and is the first person to start the Reddit discussion thread on r/MTG.
Yeah.
Or MTG...
Magic TCG.
Yeah, Magic TCG.
Is the Magic subreddit.
I never have to type it. It just always pops up in my browser.
Yeah. Which is not necessarily to say that that they don't... Yeah, like I said, they don't necessarily play the game, but we were talking earlier that you can have someone who like me, whereas I love the flavor, but I don't actually, it doesn't enter into my mind when I'm like deck building.
Right.
But you can also have someone who likes to use the flavor in the deck building. Well,
Yes.
you were saying you like to do that.
Well, yeah, or at least I used to. I come from Magic. Okay. My friends and I got into Magic by way of playing Warhammer 40K. And Warhammer is produced by Games Workshop, and Games Workshop is a British company, and so they do this very kind of like passive-aggressive kind of rules enforcement where they say that armies should be composed... Like in Warhammer 40K, you assemble armies of soldiers.
Right.
And you have an army list that you buy from them that gives you rules for assembling an army. And theoretically, you can assemble an army in any way you like. But they suggest you try to do it with some kind of flavor.
Yes.
Right, you just don't mix and match all the best units from warring tribes.
Well, was it done with any
Yeah.
flair?
Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone does anyways, but it's discouraged. We want you to know that that's discouraged.
We would appreciate it.
Yeah. We feel that
Sorry,
that's
that's
not
my
in the
inner Spike coming out
Yeah.
of me just being like, screw you, I want the best one.
Yeah, no, exactly, right? So that's where we kind of came from, where we each built like these armies that had kind of lavish backstories with characters who we had identified and converted and built up units around and, had conflicts. And when we started playing Magic, we kind of took that philosophy into our deck construction.
It's interesting
where we
too
would
because
have-
I don't play 40K. I've played like 2 games of Warhammer Fantasy ever.
Right.
I don't think I'm likely to start, but I love the story of 40K.
Yeah.
because it's so dumb.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I love
no,
it so much.
It absolutely knows what it is.
Oh yeah.
And that it's really at odds with the character of the rules design, which is very kind of like,
yeah.
Gently going to suggest that that may not be exactly what we had in mind. Whereas the flavor is like an 8-foot-tall man with a chainsaw for a head bursts through the wall and murders everyone. Right? I think there's probably something richly Freudian going on in that situation. So everyone kind of built like decks that started off being based around like, oh, I opened Gerard, so I'm going to build the crew of the Weatherlight.
Oh, sweet.
Right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you would have Legacy Weapon and Karn and
You get Miri in there and
yeah,
Cisse.
and Cisse and Hannah.
Yeah.
And
This-
you would have the
Sounds hard to cast.
Yes.
Oh, it was a misery, and they never worked, and they didn't do anything at all. And the person who opened, not Krovax, who was the Phyrexian commander? She was like, she had a mechanical spider for a body.
Did you? You think I remember that?
Was she in
Sabo
Wild Wild
Tavok.
West?
Oh, Tsabo Tavok.
Yeah, and she had the thing where she could
TS. Tsabo.
TSABO.
What did Sabo do?
She murdered legends.
She looks amazing.
5 black red for a 7/4 with first strike and protection from legendary creatures.
Yeah, so that guy beat all of them. Like,
And for black and tap, destroy target legendary creature. It can't be regenerated.
I need to make a commander deck with her.
Question: has she been oracled to be protected from legendary permanents? No. Okay. So you can give her banding with that legendary land.
Ooh.
Ignore me.
so yeah, that informed our deck building.
Right.
So that's kind of where I enter into the Vorthos territory.
Mm-hmm.
Is not necessarily like being a person who reads the novels or all the Uncharted Realms things and
Mm-hmm.
soaks in the backstory so much as it kind of informs my deck building habits, where I want to build decks that make a certain kind of sense. Like if I was to build a deck that was based around what's his ass? Red Blue God of Thunder.
Keranos.
Right? You would have cards like Lightning Bolt
Right.
and Inspiration and Chain Lightning and
Right.
Brainstorm and other words with lightning and storm and thunder in them because that seems relevant.
I should say when I said that I don't do that in deck building, that's obviously a lie. If you've listened to the podcast before, I mean I don't do it in like
Draft deck building.
draft.
Yeah,
Well,
you have-
sometimes we'll do a flavor draft for funsies, but that's different. But yeah, I mean I've talked before about my commander deck with the
Well, you have a couple of very flavorful commander decks.
yeah, well, the Tree Folk deck especially is the one that I'm thinking of. My commander is the Sapling of Kolfanor, and just because I like the flavor of the black-green Tree Folk rather than Doran, and so it's just a black-green deck. But when I'm talking about doing flavor for this, I'm using removal that is bad. Like it's not as good removal spells because it's more in flavor. So I'm running Root Grapple and Rending Vines, which are removal spells, but they're not like why not Doomblade or Ultimate Price or Go for the Throat maybe?
Yeah, with ones that seem relevant to the creature.
Exactly. Yeah, and I love doing that for stuff like Commander, but I don't. I mean, I was going to say I don't do it for anything else, but I don't really play Standard or Modern, so it's not like.
It's not like you have a lot of opportunities,
really have a lot
and
of
limited,
opportunities,
you
no.
kind of do what you can do.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note, though, like you can be a Vorthos and really enjoy the lore and not want to build decks around the flavorful interactions. Like, I love the lore of Magic and reading about the characters and understanding the greater story. I think that's fantastic. I'm always like, what happened at the end of this block?
That's
Yeah.
always the worst.
Right?
That's always the worst thing because they can't make a set where everything. You can't make an interesting Magic set of a denouement, right?
Yeah.
You can't have a set that is the epilogue because
Yeah.
then everything is happy, and so you'll always have, the conflict, the rising action, the climax, and then
Next
then
set.
The
and
next
then
set
next set. And so the player is like, but what happened?
Happened.
Like I
Yeah.
didn't find out. This is the thing. I'm invested in this story. I didn't find out until a while how Theros block ended. Which spoilers, I guess. Elspeth dies.
Yeah, like about as permanently
Yeah,
as
she's-
someone can die.
Yeah, she's murdered by Heliod.
Yeah.
But she still defeats
Xenagos.
She defeats
Xenagos
Xenagos.
is dead.
And she gets murdered by Heliod.
Yeah, for hubris,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But
What does she do that's so huberific, I guess?
Huberific.
I guess murder a god.
Yeah,
But he asked her to.
Yeah. Greek
I
gods
think-
are jerks.
I'll have to read that update.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's like, okay, she got rid of Zedek. Oh, she could kill me. No.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Although-
See, that's the problem.
Although, actually, now that I think about it, she uses like God's End, doing the deicide to kill Xenagos, and because she had dealt damage to that combat, Spear of Heliod destroys target creature.
Yeah, that works. That works. That's in flavor.
yeah.
What I loved
that's the
actually-
that's the Vorthos sweet spot where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, so this was the story wise, then you can use these cards and connect that in there. Perfect. It's in flavor.
Yeah.
Well, what I really loved that they did is there was a video that they released after the fact of the trailers for all three sets in that block.
Right.
As one video, and so it was like the story of Theros, and then the story of Born of the Gods, and then the story of Journey to Nyx, and then there was an additional scene
Oh, really?
at
I
the
didn't
end.
see that.
Yes, it was because you said as permanently as someone could die. Well,
Uh-huh.
at the end of it, the camera basically goes down into Nyx
Uh-huh.
and sort of wends its way down like a hallway or something, and you finish on a shot of Elspeth's gold death mask.
Oh, really?
Like the returned wear.
Oh.
So if Elspeth comes back, which I'm pretty sure she's gonna, she could be white black undead Elspeth planeswalker,
That's giving me a huge Vorthos.
right? Right?
Yeah.
See, that's cool. It's so cool. There's so
Yeah.
many cool things.
Oh, okay. See, like I actually love I love the trailers more than the Uncharted Realms articles.
The trailers are really cool.
Like the one that really got me into it was the new Phyrexian one.
Oh yeah.
Or well, I guess it's the Scars of Mirrodin Besieged, and then the new Phyrexian
Yeah.
one. Or sorry, it's not. That's not how it went. It was the Phyrexian one, the Mirren one, and then the new Phyrexian one, where they had the overlay of the Phyrexian and the Mirren language tracks.
Yes. That was cool.
Yeah, and then they kind of converge, right, with Karn is coming.
I love when there is the details like that. I mean, now of course just to be clear, because I realize people are going to say, well, you find out like there's stuff in Journey into Nyx where it's pretty clear that Elspeth dies or whatever, and it's like, well, only if you know what you're looking for, because there's the card,
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but there's a card that shows Ajani holding her cloak,
Right. Yes.
and then on Ajani,
Mentor of Heroes.
no, because in that set he's Mentor of Heroes, but
Right.
then in M15,
Oh, right,
he's
yes.
Ajani Vengeant.
No,
and,
not Vengeant. That was
Steadfast.
Steadfast,
Sorry,
yes.
Ajani Steadfast, and he's wearing her cloak.
yeah.
That's really cool, but that wasn't until M15 that you find that out. So it's only there's just like the one card where Ajani's holding a cloak, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
but you don't unless you're reading this extraneous information, you're not really putting it together that that's Elspeth. I have no idea what card that is, by the way.
I think but I think it's okay to be like, I love this flavor. I'm so interested in this, and I think the first commander deck I put together was a mono black vampires deck.
Yeah.
And very quickly I realized I actually didn't care about maintaining the flavor so much as I cared about putting in the best cards. And that was probably
Yeah.
the death knell of my Vorthos deck building
Yeah.
very early on.
It always suffers kind of that watershed moment, like death blow to it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I remember
How
being
spiky am I?
in like elementary school and playing Magic with my Merfolk deck, because even back then I was a blue player. I was born to be blue. And I was playing Merfolk with like Merfolk at the Pearl Trident and like as many Lords of Atlantis as I could pull together. I think I had 2 of them. And then I had a bunch of the Merfolk cards from Fallen Empires. So I had like my Vodalian Soldiers, and I had River Merfolk, and I think I had a couple of Vodalian Knights. And then I had my prize piece, which was a Vodalian War Machine.
Ooh.
And Vodalian War Machine was a star in blue for like 47 mana. And it had this ability where you tap Merfolk you control to give it +1/+1. But if it's tap target Merfolk you control to allow Vodalian War Machine to attack this turn, or to give Vodalian War Machine +2/+1 until end of turn. If Vodalian War Machine is put in the graveyard, all Merfolk tapped in this manner this turn are destroyed.
Whoa!
And it's a 0/4 for 1 blue.
Yeah. And I was hell-bent unputting my merfolk into the war machine and sending it on to people, because that's what the cards wanted me to do.
Right, of course. That makes perfect sense.
Right,
You put all the merfolk in the machine, then it can attack and it gets stronger.
Yeah.
But if the machine is destroyed, any merfolk you put in the machine are also destroyed.
Yeah, and people would be like, "Don't do that."
And you're
I'd
like,
be
no.
like, "Oh, it's what it wants."
You are
It
opening
has-
yourself up to a
Yeah.
severe, to
the biggest blowout.
to like a 6-for-1.
Did you
Yeah.
have lightning greaves at this point?
No, this was Fallen Empires.
And
Yeah.
why would merfolk wear boots?
Yeah. Merfolk don't need to
and
wear
I
boots.
remember playing this deck, and I was playing Mersine in it, which was, I think, probably the earliest blue enchantment.
I know what Mersine is, but for a brief second, my brain went to Ursine, and I was
Oh, yeah.
like, I was
Bears?
like, sea bear like?
Yeah. Water bears.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Water bears would not be a 2/2 for
No.
2.
No.
They would be much smaller than that, but
It'd
it would
Be
be
a 0/0.
indestructible.
Yeah,
A 0/1 indestructible.
a 0/0 that can't die to state-based actions.
And I
Yeah.
remember like
What is Okay, hang on. Mersine is creature enchantment, 2 blue. There's a lot of text. I'm leaning
Oh,
forward.
this is a bad
Put
card.
3 net counters on Mersine when it is brought into play. Target creature Mersine enchants does not untap as normal during its controller's untap phase as long as any net counters remain. As a fast effect, target creature's controller may pay creature's casting cost to remove a net counter. Oy.
So
What a
this
pain
was
in the
like,
ass.
yeah, this is like bad encrust.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is
Right.
the worst encrust.
But I was playing it because it had Merfolk on it.
Right.
And I remember a friend of mine looked at this card and he's like, "This isn't really in flavor for your deck." And I'm like, "Come on,
What are you talking about? Look.
It has a merman on it.
give me anything. I'm playing Vidalian War Machine here. Come on."
Wow.
And I was also playing land enchantment, whatever the equivalent of Spreading Seas was in this block, that basically turned something into an island.
What's that, Paul?
I was just going to say, as you might guess, that card has been oracled
Yes.
because what the hell is a fast effect?
Yeah. Just instant speed, isn't it?
Well, no, it's now an ability. It's pay enchanted creatures mana cost : remove net counter.
Oh, okay.
So it's a mana ability, which
Right.
is the equivalent of a fast effect.
Okay. Fast effect.
Any player may activate this ability, but only if he or she controls the enchanted creature.
But what?
It's a weird.
That's an interesting caveat.
So you can like
Yeah.
Any player, just anybody in the entire world can activate it, but only if you control the creature.
but you could
so,
steal it and then activate
Yeah,
the
so-
ability.
Yeah.
but I don't know why I
But-
can't just say the creature's controller has to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
If there's a situation where the creature is owned by more than one person.
Sure.
Two-headed giant. No, that's not how that works. You still own your own creatures.
Maybe if you've anteed and the game is over.
We should do I should build some sort of commander deck that only uses snow-covered land because it's got like a
Ice Age theme.
something like that. Yeah, I can run like Summit Prowler
Scred.
because it's a Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'll call it the Great White North.
I've been meaning to build a Catmander deck for a long time.
I know. I keep buying you cards for it.
I know.
And I'm
I
like,
have a lot of
I found this
cards.
great card here.
A lot of
Yeah.
Catmander cards, but I would have to pull together. Like it's the mana base that's sort of preventing me from doing that.
Yeah, well,
And there's
three-color
not a
mana
lot of-
bases can be kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is there's not a
3
lot
snaps.
of really great Naya commanders that work really well. Like there's Johan, which is the best. He gives your creatures vigilance, which is good but not great.
Do you still have my Johan?
Yes,
Okay.
it's still in my box of cards.
Johan.
Not a lot of legendary creatures in that particular mana color.
Yeah.
No, hey wizards, maybe make it a cat.
There might be more now, but
Well, I mean, like,
Sorry, I was saying another weird oracle on this guy. His oracle is longer than the text on the card.
huh.
In order to simplify things, his oracle has been changed to: at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have Johan gain quotes Johan can't attack until end of turn. If you do, attacking doesn't cause creatures you control to tap this combat if Johan is untapped.
wow. So that's
not
They
even
don't. It doesn't
vigilance.
even give vigilance.
that's how they have to word it.
Well, yeah, because There's
Weird.
probably a problem with just saying, if
For those,
when
sorry.
Johan doesn't attack your
For anyone
creatures
not
have vigilance.
watching, Johan is a legendary creature from, I guess,
Legends.
and he's 3 white, red, green for a 5/4. And the text that Paul said, as written on the card, is as long as Johan does not attack and is untapped, attacking does not cause creatures you control to tap.
So if somebody taps him through other means, such as the twiddle or something like that,
Yeah.
your creatures will tap.
Yeah.
But if he is not tapped, your creatures will not tap.
Speaking of flavor, if you didn't know the color alignment on Johan, where would you say he's from?
Literal hell?
Yeah, that's racist. He's from Naya. It's the bed of all life.
He looks like he has horns coming out of the side of his head. He is a red and black demon man with like fire coming out of his hand.
What race
Yeah.
was Darth Maul?
A Zabrak.
He looks like that.
He looks like a
Zabrak's,
Zabrak.
But Darth Maul's, it wasn't the black that were the tattoos. Darth Maul was tattooed red.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Those are impressive tattoos.
I know,
How do you
it had-
tattoo onto black skin? Like that?
No,
that
like the
black?
coloration, like the actual patterning is natural for Zabrak. But it was, he took all he basically like Sharpied himself with red.
Interesting.
Even his eyelids. That's how metal he was.
Oh, Darth Maul. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
So the Darth Maul card is 6 to cast. You can pay 1 force to evade 1, or pay 2 force to deploy Darth Maul to the character arena. Play this ability only if this unit has at least 5 build counters on it. At end of the character battle step, retreat Maul. And he's got some numbers on the side.
This is what other people think when they hear us
Yeah.
talk about magic.
I
'Cause it doesn't
know.
make any sense to me.
Is this from the... This doesn't look like the Star Wars CCG by Decipher. Is this a different game?
2004
It's probably
Lucasfilm.
literally the first result, first Google image search result for Darth Maul.
Maybe they changed the game
Huh.
Oh, he's got a different card.
with different text.
There's like 20 different cards.
Well, isn't that exciting?
Back to magic.
Like, I like how Johan has the arrow pointing down.
Down is where the cats are.
Yeah. Like, this is what a feminist looks like, right? Like,
Well, because he's the leader of this Catmander deck, so about all the cats are not in frame because if you're not looking, because
Yeah.
it cuts off at about here.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of cats. Like, he's actually a really nice guy. On his lap is just like 50 cats, and they're like,
yeah, that isn't
but-
fire in his hand. That's cat hair. He's just like brushing it off.
No, it's ammonia from all the cat urine he's gonna deal with.
Oh, Johan.
See,
like,
we're generating flavor right here.
yeah, exactly. It's ammonia flavor.
If you've ever scooped a rank litter box, you know what we're talking about.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's Mark Tadine art. Cataclysm. Yes.
Thank you, Paul.
What were we talking about?
Flavor.
Sure. What else?
Oh, before we go, let's talk a little bit
Oh, yeah.
about the most recent bit of flavor. Who's read the latest Uncharted Realms that went up?
I have not,
I
actually.
have not.
13th of May. I won't spoil it for you.
Actually, on 13th of May, I remember trying to load it, and it didn't load.
Probably because everybody was like, "Wah!"
Yeah.
It's a Nahiri story.
A what?
Yeah, it's about.
Wow. I tremoloed that. That was fun. Nahiri is the Lithomancer.
Who famously sort of made her first appearance in the mono white commander sets where you could have a planeswalker as your commander. Remember her? She's pulling the sword out of the ground.
Yeah.
Because she's just like
Yeah, she was the first Stoneforge mystic.
yeah, she teaches and it talks about how she's. It kind of goes through and it's set pre-mending, which is really fun because she's basically like. She to give you the TLDR of the story, but I recommend you read it. She lives for a couple hundred years because it's pre-mending, so planeswalkers basically were immortal. So just keep that in mind. So she lives for a few hundred years among the core and teaches them about the Eldrazi and all of that good stuff. Here's how to maintain these hedrons, and this is
'Cause she
what
made
you
the hedrons.
Don't want to let them out.
She's a Lithomancer. That's kind of what she does.
Yeah. And then she just gets kind of bored of it and just basically goes to meditate. And she meditates for a long time and sort of an unknown period of time. And she gets woken up because the Eldrazi are not out, but stirring.
Right.
And there's all these Eldrazi spawn like going all over like, the ground and stuff like that. So she comes out of this like hedron slumber where she's just basically been in the earth. And there's this cool part where she looks down and she sees like this valley just filled with Eldrazi, and she's like, no. And shuts the no more
the valley together.
Yeah,
Holy
she's
crap.
like done.
So she's quite powerful, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, like I said, she's a pre-mending planeswalker, and they're a lot
Right.
more powerful, and they could basically live forever. So it's exciting to read just for that kind of information, because like basically she is unto a god, and it explains how when she was trying to explain to the core what the Eldrazi were, she used the word god, which was a mistake because she wakes up sometime later
Right.
and she sees like reliefs of her as
Right.
Nahiri,
Oh,
who taught
but
us
then-
this, but then there's like
Amiria
and
Cozy.
Kozilek and stuff like that.
It was yeah. it-
Amiria, Cozy, and Una.
Una.
No.
Or Ula?
No,
Ula.
Ula.
Right.
Quest for Eula's temple or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have different names in this because their names shifted further, I think.
Right.
But it's like Kozilek, and it's like, but Kozilek doesn't look like an Eldrazi. It's like there's this temple relief carving of him, and it looks like a core, but with a weird hat that looks
Right.
like Kozilek. And she's just like,
She's like, one, that's adorable. Two, no.
oh, she's mad. She's
like,
mad salty.
that-
She's like, I should not have used that word. This is
This-
probably my fault.
This thing will murder all of you.
Yeah, and then she finds a bunch of vampires, and she's like, "There's not supposed to be vampires on Zendikar," and so that's neat.
Right.
And
It's
so
like Markov.
no, they're different vampires. They're it is sort of. I think what I'm getting from this is that they're not Sorin vampires.
Oh,
They're like
okay.
somehow brought about by the Eldrazi's taint or something like that. Because
She's
there was
just
no vampires on Zendikar.
Phrasing. She's just like, how long was I out?
Yeah.
That she says she's like, "How long was I sleeping for?"
It's like Nahiri, The Hangover Part 2.
Yeah.
How long was I sleeping for? Who are you?
Yeah, but then she
Uh-oh.
fixes the Hedron network and goes back, and then doesn't go back to sleep. She leaves Zendikar to go find Sorin.
Right.
Womp womp. So that's why Sorin knows she's not on Zendikar. I think she must have come looking for him, and maybe they broke up.
Oh,
and it was
it's-
very awkward.
Oh, it's like that thing in Sesame Street Christmas where Bert gets a new soap dish for Ernie's rubber ducky by selling his paperclip collection, and Ernie gets a new cigar box for Bert's paperclip collection by selling rubber ducky.
Oh no.
Oh, that's so
And
sad.
It's just like the gift of the Magi, right?
then-
The ship's passing in the night.
and then Oscar the Grouch, who bought both of those things, refuses to give either of them back and teaches them a valuable lesson about communication. Right?
Yeah, in capitalism.
That's
Yeah.
not typically how Sesame Street goes, but sure.
I think it's
isn't-
important to
it
impart
isn't
that
my
lesson
lore.
to children.
Darkest Vorthos. Anyhow, that is the TLDR of that article, but it's got lots of cool hints about what might be coming up in Battle for Zendikar, which I'm very excited about from a Vorthosian perspective, because the Eldrazi are very cool. I probably won't make me build flavorful decks. I will still probably build the best decks I can.
What do we know about that? Isn't it just Kozilek that is still on Zendikar? And the other
I think it's Ulamog. No, one of them is left because Nissa created a rift to try to get them to leave.
Right.
And she was like, "There's the door. Use it. Don't let it hit your ass on the way out." And
Piss
Emrakul and Kozilek, I think, were both like,
All right.
Peace.
"Cool, later."
And they went back
Good,
to the
we've
Blind
been here for a
Eternities
long
Yeah,
time.
or somewhere.
somewhere. And Ulamog, or one of them anyway,
Yeah,
we're not,
I think it's Ulamog because she
was just like, you know what, I kind of like it here. Excuse me while I keep raising the land.
No,
Yeah.
I've been here for a long time, and I'm hungry and pissed.
yeah.
I'm not leaving
Ulamog's
till I
just
have
like,
a snack.
Feed
Yeah.
me core.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she's like, "No, I'm fine gyrating here." So like Nissa's very passive aggressive invitation to leave was lost on Ulamog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
needs direct communication?
I mean, they trapped the Eldrazi there for a reason. I mean, not really. The article explains it wasn't really the Eldrazi they trapped there because, of course, they're like beings of the infinite gyre and have no real physical form, but they'd like sort of trapped the shadow, so they couldn't leave, but they couldn't pass through, and they just
Oh.
were kind of stuck there. They trapped what the physical manifestation of their forms was, and so
Neat.
by releasing it, they were able to like keep doing what they're doing.
Should do the thing where like when you catch a bee in like a mason jar, right? Just like put the hedron over Emrakul and then clap a bit of paper over the other side of the hedron, then walk it over to a portal. Take the paper away and hope that
Yeah, but the problem,
Flies out
the
into the-
reason they trapped them there is because they were like
I know.
doing Galactus things.
I know.
Yeah.
Hashtag just Galactus things. Eating planets.
See, there's so much
and
good
such.
Vorthos information.
If it's just Galactus things, can we get a magic equivalent of the Surfer? No, wait, we already did. That's Karn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karn, our multiverse turns its tired eyes to you.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to Battle for Zendikar, I guess is what I can say about that. But when we're talking flavor, this is why I'm really looking forward to Magic Origins.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah. We
Like
finally get
the-
to see where Jace is from. Dawn
Yes.
area. No.
No, we
No.
don't know, but I think
What's-
the earliest thing we know about Jace is when he turned up on Ravnica,
Yeah.
and it has something to do with that's where Tezzeret was at the same time.
He's lost his memory.
Yeah, because yeah,
you were
just
on the
watch.
last Lurcast, but my fingers crossed prediction for Magic Origins is that Jace is from the Homelands plane.
ooh,
Jason's from Ulgotha.
Oh god.
that would be so like.
That's funny, but good.
It would be great to get a shout out to Olgotha.
Yeah.
He's going to be like actually some sort of young-ened amnesiac Urza for some reason.
no. Boo.
Pulls off a vinyl mask.
Boo.
It was old man Urza the whole time.
It was me, Dio.
Yeah, he pulls off the chain veil.
Oh, sorry. Speaking of called shots, which I don't expect that one to actually happen. August F&M promo.
Yes.
Serum Visions.
Yes.
How did you do that?
I heard other people talking about it, then took credit for it as my own idea.
Sweet.
I mean, like,
that's good.
I wasn't the
Good.
first person to say
It counts.
I wasn't the first person, at least I remember hearing saying like
Just people sort of figured it was around. It was
like
about
there
the right
was
time.
going to be another August should have been another Modern Masters F&M promo. So any obvious exclusions, Serum Visions, Damnation,
Right.
like Inquisition of Kozilek. If we're going back to Zendikar, then maybe it would be something like that. And I just was like, I'm going to call Serum Visions.
Nice.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Somebody's about to get Serum Visioned. Somebody's getting Serum Vision.
So good job. A bunch of
Yeah.
people were like, "Tell Cam you got it right."
No, I had like 15 people tweeting at me. To this day, I have people tweeting at me like
Yeah.
3 days after the announcement, being
Yeah.
like, "You got it right," and I'm like, "Yes, yes, I did.
I did.
Hooray.
I did.
I
And-
was not the only one, but I too was correct.
Yes,
Yes.
I was correct, as were several other people.
Yeah.
However,
But
But this feels
that does not
way,
diminish my correctness.
yeah, this feels way better than the time that I was getting pestered for spoilers by this kid
oh yeah.
about Khan's blog.
Right.
And if I knew anything, because clearly I have to know something about what's coming up.
You have to.
Obviously,
Because we make
I work
videos for Wizards, so
yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, so we know everything.
Spoiler: we
And-
don't know anything.
No, we
No,
don't.
we-
Dev, don't
get
ask
told
us
nothing.
because
No.
we don't know.
No.
The only time we know anything is when we have a spoiler card, and
Yeah.
that's the one card,
We know
and
the
we
one
get
card.
it like
We
3
don't.
days in advance. Right?
I assume we will have something for Magic Origins. We don't have it yet.
Yeah.
And so we don't. We know everything you do.
Yeah.
So everything else we say is purely based speculation.
Hooray!
Anyways, I said he was pestering me for spoilers about Khan's block back in like July, I think, and I was like, "Fine, they're reprinting the Onslaught fetches.
Right.
Sell yours now." And he's like, "What? Really?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know. They don't tell me anything. Keep your fetches. They're worth a lot. Don't sell them."
Did he sell them?
No.
And then they reprinted the Onslaught fetches.
Yeah.
And then so we're at the
It's just like,
we're at the PAX party
Now-
and we see that and we're all like, "Oh, this is so exciting!" And we're like, "Cam, look, isn't this exciting?" And Cam's like, "This one guy is going to be really angry with me."
yeah, because he's gonna think that
That you
I
knew and
was-
that you lied.
The-
that I was fucking with him.
He's going to think
Well-
that you knew and that you lied about it.
yeah,
yeah.
well, I mean, you're an actor, so you could lie about it convincingly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Oh,
rough. Pardon
you
me.
horrible miscreant.
Yeah, so I just like tanked the value of his collection, right?
No.
No.
No, you didn't.
No, the moral of the story is don't ask us for spoilers and insider card information because even if we did do it, we couldn't tell you because we'd be under an NDA.
Yeah.
There's
exactly.
literally there's no point in asking us. Even
But-
if we knew, we couldn't tell you.
But speaking of flavor wins, calling Serum Visions, which allows you to see into the future,
Oh,
basically.
you scried that.
Okay, so
Layer
what's your
upon
next flavor
layer.
prediction then? Since,
Uh,
or your next prediction, since you've been 2 for 2 so far.
I'm actually not totally convinced that Damnation won't get reprinted in
Like actually in standard.
not in standard, I don't think. I don't think it's going to be in standard.
Well,
but
you already called it for a dual deck.
yeah. I mean,
I can
well,
see it.
we get powerful cards in dual decks.
Yeah, it's true.
We got
Swords was in one of them.
We got Future Sight.
Yeah.
We got Life from the Loam. It's never been something worth quite as much, I think, but
The thing is,
That could
like,
happen.
I think that's actually a good spot to reprint something like Damnation because it's not really played in Modern or anything.
oh
crazy.
hell yeah, it is.
Really? Do a
There's Grixis control decks.
Oh,
that played
right,
in
I
Modern.
guess. Okay.
And I mean, like,
But, like,
a Wrath
well-
in Black is.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying lots of people don't want it. I'm saying lots of people want it for like commander decks and
Oh,
for
yeah.
other and for stuff like that. But it's not like a modern staple, right?
Yeah.
The way that
It could
Splinter
be if
Twin
there was
is.
more of them.
And if nothing else, I would say that Inquisition of Kozilek is definitely going to show up in the dual deck.
Oh yeah.
Why wouldn't it just show up in Battle for Zendikar?
Kozilek's history, Kozilek Peace.
Oh, right.
Kozilek's gone.
Goodbye.
It could be back. It could definitely be back.
He could come back. He could have gotten bored out in the blind eternities and be like, "This actually sucks.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go see what Ulamog's doing back in Zendikar."
yeah.
Nom, 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 nom. All right. I
That was
think
flavor
I think we'll leave it there for this week.
on that uplifting card.
Yeah, thank you all so much for listening. Tap Tap Concede is brought to you by you, the listeners at home, by supporting our Patreon, patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. We hugely value your support because it lets us do all of the things that we do. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you so much.
And thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.